Hello, Mayor Dan Pope with a Friday midday weekly update. I bet you've had a great week. I want to just briefly look both forward at next week's council meeting and back at last week's council meeting. I know that in last week's update I talked about council, but there's one other thing I want to point out. I'll do that at the end. Next week at our council meeting during work session, we'll address two things that I think are top of mind for a lot of our citizens. One is codes. We're going to have our codes people come and talk to us. And if you followed our work as a council, you know that our neighborhoods and the not only the safety of our neighborhoods, but the cleanliness of our neighborhoods, and it has been and remains as one of our top priorities. And we added a couple of positions this year in codes. We would like to shift more to being proactive versus reactive around codes. So what are codes? Well, codes are junk vehicles that people leave on the street or in their driveway that never move. Codes are people that don't take care of their yards. Codes are people that don't use our dumpsters and find a way to put mattresses and things in their alleys. Codes are, it goes on and on. Folks that don't maintain their homes up to building code, and so. Unfortunately, we have some of that, and it's the small minority, but it impacts our neighborhoods, and it's important to our citizens. Most of us, our home is the biggest investment we'll ever make, and it's something that we have a right to, or we have a role and really an assignment to help protect that. So pay attention to that next week. We'll get a briefing from our animal services folks. We've talked a little bit about that on a previous video, but our council feels like we can probably do a better job with animal services. There have been some news reports around this recently. I want you to hear what our folks have to say, hear what council has to say. I think it'll be very clear as to the direction that we would like to go with our animal shelter, our animal services organization. Finally, if you look back at last week's meeting, and you always can go to the city website, and it's easy to get to our previous meetings. That would be the February 8th meeting. But one of the things we did in work session, and you can look for the work session topics, and then there's the different topics are indexed, so you can easily go to just watch one part of the meeting. But we did an update on capital projects. So in other words, where we're spending money that we said we were going to spend in this year's budget. We think it's important that not only the council be briefed on that, but that citizens understand where your money is being spent. So there's a 10 to 15 minute, I think, total piece of that meeting that you could go and review, and I think you might find it instructive to what's going on in Lubbock. I expect your prayers and your good ideas and your thoughts. I really appreciate them. I look forward to talking to you next week. Have a great weekend.